What about now? Mic check 1, 2. Cool beans. Good morning and welcome back to Amarillo, Texas for the 2024 edition of the IKF Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Jeska. Joining me this weekend in the booth is the one and only Rocco Ruzic. But this morning we have a little bit of a special segment for those of you at home and for those of you here in the paddock. We're going to hear from some of our drivers that have kind of been some of the main protagonists all day yesterday and have been providing us with some great racing action and putting themselves within a good shot to win a couple of Duffies, and some drivers with 2 shots than compared to other drivers with just 1. But we'll get this day nice and rolling with your Mini Swift morning warm-up here going live as you see the windmills in the background. But joining me up here in the booth all the way from California, Gavin McCune. Gavin, firstly, welcome up to the Kart Chaser booth, and it's a pleasure to have you up here. How are you doing? How's your weekend so far?
Thanks for having me. This weekend so far, we got here Thursday, practiced Thursday a little bit. We were doing some shake and bake with some teammates, and then just kind of went from there. Got the Eagle, and then hopefully looking forward to getting the Duffy for the first time.
Yeah, so walk me through the heat races, right? I mean, it seemed like you had a lot of pace, but there was also a couple of other guys that were kind of up there, kind of, battling a little bit with you. Steven Searock was kind of up there with you, as well as Christopher Wakefield, who was kind of keeping you on your toes as well, he actually took a couple of heat race victories as well. So were you starting for the main event, and how'd you feel after the heat races?
I'm starting first for the main event. First heat did not go as planned. Did not have the best of starts, but got it down to second place, and then second heat, we were able to just draft away from the rest of the group, and then last lap battle with Christopher Wakefield to get the win. And then last heat race, I just knew I needed to get second or better to start off on pole, so I just kind of kept it easy, didn't really want to battle too hard, and then
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking before we went live earlier today, right? You haven't won a Duffy yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, just tell us or tell the fans at home a little bit what that would kind of mean to you to kind of win a trophy, especially like the Duffy. It's kind of a one of a kind trophy, probably the
Hmm.
heaviest trophy that we have in karting. So what would that kind of mean for you to take the a Duffy, or maybe are you running KA Junior as well?
I'm running KA Junior for the first time.
Okay, yeah. So that's I guess a bit of a learning experience,
Yeah,
this weekend. But what would it mean, kind of, to take a Duffy back home with you to California?
it would mean a lot. This is only a one-time thing now, and the Duffy just basically, for me, it means like I'm like pretty much one of the best, kind of.
For sure. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely means that. And I think myself and Xander Clements kind of, put down to it that if you are on the list of winners for the Duffy, you're kind of in a sort of a karting hall of fame to its own respect, right? So
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool. So I know you're not a solo operation because you're still a junior driver. You can't,
Hmm.
you can't drive it. You don't have a driver's license. So who'd you like to thank for making all this possible to getting out here to the grand state of Texas?
I really want to thank my dad and mom the most. They've been helping me, supporting me, pushing me. And then my Uncle Jeff, who put me in the two-stroke. I really want to give a shout out to him. I wouldn't be here without him. Good mechanic, too. Really good mechanic. And then shout out to all the NorCal people that, who couldn't make it here.
Yeah.
They wanted to come, but yeah.
Well, there you guys have it. Gavin McCune looking to take a Duffy back to NorCal later on today. So, Gavin, I know you got a morning warm-up session coming, or I should say 2 morning warm-up sessions coming your way here in a couple of moments' time. So I'll give you the best of luck, and I'll let you get ready for that. But thank you very much for chatting with us, and
Thanks for
we'll
having
see you
me.
on track. Thank you, Gavin.
Thank you.
So a big thanks there to Gavin McCune for joining us up here in the booth. And when we bring up kind of new drivers or younger drivers, they're always nervous of their first time on air. And it's just like a conversation for some of them. And I hope to be hearing from some of the Mini Swift drivers as well, especially Tanner Barsh, who had a really good day all day yesterday, and Aston White, who's kind of chasing him down in this class, but has struggled from starting on the outside, especially. So we'll be looking forward to kind of hear from Aston and Tanner Barsh after their session here and before they go out for 206 Cadet. But Tanner Barsh picks up where he left off yesterday. A good lap early on in this morning warm-up session, and we'll bring you that time here. I believe they're kind of slated by position at the moment, so we'll come back here in a couple of moments' time and tell you guys the times. And indeed, Tanner Barsh, fastest this morning, a 110.963 for Aston White, a 111.459. So that'll be about it for these young Mini Swift drivers that are on the racetrack now. And we'll bring in our next driver to speak to here in a couple of moments. Well, joining me up here in the booth is one of our main protagonists in the KA100 Junior class, David Ibarra, driver for the CRG Nordam team. David, a good day yesterday. Just talk me through your weekend. I know it's kind of been up and down all weekend long. You're from Dallas, obviously, making the trip out here to Amarillo. And, what's the weekend kind of been like so far? You had a good qualifying session, qualifying on the pole, and a good couple of heat races. So just walk me through how your weekend's been up to this point.
My weekend has been pretty great. I got pole, and all my heats are at second. I'm starting in the main heat 2 or second place. So
Yeah, so I mean, going into that main event, are you any, I guess, sort of nerves or any added kind of pressure starting from the outside? You saw how kind of difficult it was for other classes and other drivers to start on that outside. So, any little bit of nerves starting on that outside for the main event?
No, not really. I saw Tyrone in second place, and he was always getting great starts, so I think I'll be able to manage.
Yeah, and you haven't raced, I guess, for a Duffy yet, but what would it kind of mean for you to win the Duffy or to take a Duffy back with you back home to Dallas for the entire CRG team?
It would definitely mean a lot because the trophy is definitely important to the karting community. It would really be special to win it.
Yeah, and I know you have a kind of a big operation that kind of puts on your I guess your ability to come out here and race. I see you and your dad at whatever racetrack whenever you guys go to national races, and who would you really like to thank for being out here this weekend?
This weekend, I would especially like to thank my dad, Mr. Ewan, CRG, John Burke especially for helping me throughout this weekend a ton. Um, Thank you for my first coaches that started me here. That's all.
Well, David, I know it's going to be a difficult day to kind of put on to get a Duffy later on today. You and Tyrone have been kind of going back and forth all weekend long, so I wish you the best of luck. And we'll be hopefully seeing you, either get a podium or some hardware later on today. So best of luck, nonetheless, David.
Thank you.
Well, there you guys have it from David Ibarra and Gavin McCune earlier on this morning. Joining me up here in the booth this morning as well to give us a little bit of a different insight. Riley Can.
I'm back.
Is back here this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Riley, I mean, we had a great day of racing yesterday, and what are some of your standouts, to kind of wrap up the day? Because it's a big day today for the entire karting community. The IKF Grand Nationals, especially for us, having it on Kart Chaser this year kind of means a lot to us. And seeing people come from everywhere, from California, Nevada, all the way from Florida, North Carolina, or wherever it may be. It's kind of been super special to see this event kind of come together this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, shout out to the organizer of the event, Brittany Lowball and her team, bringing us here to kind of shed more light to this awesome event that it is, this historical event. It really is great to see.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been great. And on the racing side of things, what are some of the things that kind of stood out to you? The 206 class, super action-packed. Alex Stanfield obviously had issues at the end of his race. And for some of these young drivers as well, the Honda Kid Kart's putting on some great racing all weekend long.
I mean, I think sometimes there were some sessions that had really nice pack racing, which is something that I didn't necessarily expect to see. And that's something maybe from the LO206 group, because all their races seem to be pack racing. But there was a bit more than I expected there to be originally.
Yeah, no, for sure. And all of us kind of either thought of a breakaway at some point, but drivers with the draft, it really showed us that it was super strong all day long nonetheless. And drivers were able to get back into play, especially some of the drivers on our screen here kind of showing us how it was done. Shiflett, Morales here, who's on our screen now, Liam Lofton, and a couple of other drivers, Brody Brown as well. So a couple of these drivers have definitely going to come stars of the future, and this is where it all starts. We're going to speak to some of our younger drivers when they get up here to the booth later on today, but I mean, it's super cool to hear from some of them early on this morning. I know you started from at such a young age, and what's it like kind of watching the next generation of karters, maybe the guys who are probably going to take over our jobs in a couple of years.
It's cool to see. I mean, I know that when I was in Kid Kart, I probably couldn't answer interview questions, I'm assuming. But it's awesome, man. It's seeing the people from the lowest level get airtime like this, and bringing in really incredible races, like things that are actually exciting. I love watching it. So
yeah, and it's definitely always a good watch. And all these kids are always, whenever we come into the Texas Spin Racing Series, the Honda Kid Kart class definitely always delivers us with some some great racing action all weekend long. And there's either the craziest of wrecks or the craziest of passes or whatever going on, and it's always heartbreak and kind of you get chills for the kid's first win or whatever it may be. So it's always a pleasure to kind of be here and be able to provide this for all these guys.
And it's funny too, like whenever I watch the kid karts here, like I always think that they're on the highway basically. Like, do they even break anywhere?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's pretty much flat out from this point, and I know dads and coaches are kind of telling their kids to push forward and get on that gas and try to pass as many kids as they can whenever they get through the field. So it's always cool to watch, and I think it all started at NOLA pretty much this year. They provided some of the best racing. Mm-hmm. We had 3 changes for the lead, a couple of wrecks for the lead as well. We always, we never want to see these kids wreck, but it's racing at times, and sometimes that little bit of flair, it could be interesting for us and keeps us on our toes and whatnot. So it's always cool to see all these drivers kind of go at it every time they come out here to the Grand State of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, they might be the slowest go-karts, but that does not mean that they have the least exciting races.
Yeah, slowest go-karts, but I think could be the fiercest go-karts here this weekend.
Ruthless.
And these are usually the kids also. I mean, you can't fail to mention, these are the kids that kind of running around, kicking a ball, having too many pixie sticks or whatnot, and eating candy and drinking Gatorade.
One pixie stick could be a second on the track. You never know.
Yeah, and it could very well be that. If you go back to the tent for Brody Brown, it goes back to his factory kart 10, and you give the kid a pixie stick, he's going to be on rails the next session.
You never know.
It just tends to happen. So you got to kind of micromanage how much candy you give to one of your kids and whatnot. But always kind of good to see all these young drivers kind of put on a show every time they come out here. But with that being said, I mean, again, a huge shout out to the entire Texas Sprint Racing Series crew that's here this weekend, and a huge shout out to our entire Car Chaser crew that's gone through everything. And we'll take this time to kind of give a quick shout out to our entire crew. Brandon Simone, our director here alongside us and providing us all with some of the best racing action. Our producer, Taylor Burris, who was on the mic yesterday as well. So a big shout out to Taylor, Riley Can, yourself in here with the booth with me. And then we have Rocco Ruzic up here, who's also going to be announcing later today, but taking some, I guess, off time early on today. We have Hunter Bolton out there in the infield as well, so good to see him doing well out there for his first KC weekend, KC debut, we should say. And Luis Diaz-Photo as well, taking some time off from behind his Nikon camera and coming behind one of our Canon live stream cameras, so that's always pretty cool to see.
It's been a pretty fun game of musical chairs all weekend. I think we've all kind of been wearing a lot of different hats so far, and it's kind of fun, switching it up a little bit.
And that's always the cool part. You got in and kind of produced for a little bit. You've been in the camera, you've been in the booth. Rocco's also been on the camera, kind of been directing a little bit, and also been in the booth with me all weekend long. And he'll be in the booth with me for all the main events later on today. Just kind of, from his words, mentally preparing himself to see some great racing action later on today.
You got to be versatile when you work with the KC crew, man.
Yeah, and I think the only thing, or I guess we should say, I think I missed a shout out, right? Our adopted KC new member, Mr. Tom, doing timing right next to us here. So we can adopt him for the day, doing timing for the entire TSRS and SCUSA crew here this weekend. So big shout out to Tom and race director Jonathan and Neil Strickland as well here this weekend. So big shout out to them. And with that being said, our kid carts get wrapped up. And when we come back from this quick commercial break, we'll talk to some more of our drivers. You're watching Car Chasers live coverage of the IKF Grand Nationals. Again, main events starting at 10:30 a.m. Woo!
So you will finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Studies show that even the best current generation of simulators only convince 50% of the human brain that they are real. Here at Simcraft, that just isn't realistic enough. Developed to offer the most realistic karting sim experience in the world, all testing has shown that the physics engine used in Simcraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
Welcome back to Amarillo, Texas here for the 2024 edition of the IKF Grand Nationals. Your 206 Masters getting set to go on the racetrack now. And joining us up here on the booth, the one and only Tanner Barsh, who's had a pretty good weekend so far. Tanner, you drive for the MSL CRG team here this weekend based out of Dallas. But you've had a pretty good weekend. A lot of heat race victories in both 206 Cadet and in the Mini Swift class. So what's your weekend been like? Walk me through it. How was all the racing yesterday?
It's been really good. We qualified first in both, and then I won all three in Mini. The first one in 206 we won, but in Heat 2 we had motor issues, and then Heat 3 I made a mistake that cost me.
Yeah, so where are you starting for the main events? I know you have the pole position kind of solidified in Mini Swift, but where are you starting for the 206 Cadet class?
Start first in both.
Start first in both. So that kind of lives you within a good shot to kind of have yourself within a shot to win a couple of Duffies too, especially. And I mean, I want to take a look back to last year, right? Last year you were oh so close to a Duffy, and just walk me through kind of what it would mean to you to kind of get a win here this weekend after how close you came last year.
Well, last year I locked up my brakes on the last lap, and I was really mad at myself. But this year I don't want to do that again. And I want to bring home too.
Yeah, and what would that kind of mean to you? To win, maybe even one, but to win two this weekend. What would kind of to be your first kind of Duffies? What would that mean to you this weekend?
It would mean a lot.
Yeah, and I know you have a big support group here. Your mom and dad are out here with you, and the entire team's kind of behind you and supporting you with whatever you can. So I'll give this kind of opportunity to you. Who would you like to give a thanks to for making all this possible for you?
Massimo, Sanchez, Laura, and Marcelo, CRG, Nordem, my dad, my parents, all my sponsors. Yeah.
Well, there you guys have it from Tanner Barsh, and I'm sure this is a driver that we'll be hearing from a lot more as he made his it's almost like your Mini Swift debut here this weekend, right? You've had a couple of kind of shots.
Yeah, I raced in Houston.
So you raced in Houston.
Too.
So lastly, I guess here for you, what's that kind of been like? Because you're so used to kind of the 206 side of things, but what's kind of racing in that Mini Swift class? Has it been any bit of learning? Because it seems like you need any learning time because you've been so quick all day.
Well, it was different because in Houston, they're so much more aggressive than in 206. Like, I was getting dive bombed a lot, so I had to learn how to do that. But normally we're struggling with the 2-stroke, but now we're struggling with the 4-stroke. So
it's crazy how that works, isn't it? So, well, Tanner, I know you have 206 Cadet coming up very shortly. So thank you very much for coming up here with us, and we'll see you on the racetrack in a couple of moments' time.
Okay.
There you guys have it from Tanner Barsh from MSL Racing, CRG. Well, there you guys heard it from Tanner Barsh, and man, I'm sure we'll be hearing from that kid a lot more in the future. But we go back to our 2:06 Masters here. Todd Barron, currently the quickest driver on the racetrack. Phil Pignantero and Jeff Chalmers, second and third. Kyle Uchinsky did have some sort of issue earlier on this session, but has been able to get back going again. And how about that for track owner, team owner here this weekend? Still rolling. Joining me back in the booth here, the one and only Rocco Ruzic, as many of you guys may know, SCCA licensed official, OSHA also certified.
Official.
I shouldn't say license. Well, SCCA official licensed driver, I should say.
True.
Spec Miata, driver of the number 10. Blackout Miata. But
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. There you go. Rocco Ruzic, the Croatian sensation, joining me back in the booth here. Rocco, always a pleasure to have you up here because you give us kind of a different perspective, right? You yourself are so used to watching racing behind the camera, but being up here and kind of watching it and talking about it has been something different for you. And, you know, what's it been like so far for you and watching all the racing action so far this weekend? Because I know we never got the shot to race for a Duffy, but I know you've probably seen the trophies, the Screaming Eagle as well for the qualifying session. And what's that kind of been like? Because this is probably one of the most historic events in karting, and it's kind of a pleasure for us here at Kart Chaser to be here this weekend.
Yeah, every time I come out to these Kart Chaser weekends, it just makes me want to get back in the seat a whole lot more, you know, especially for next year. I know maybe I come to IKF or something because the atmosphere out here is really cool.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I mean, just walking out on the track this morning, it was real quiet. I'm like, man, this is a really cool place to be right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, you know, IKF, this is my first year being here. I think it's really cool. It's a little bit different to our normal TSRS weekend, you know, because of the format and all that, and the Duffy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, isn't it also, you know, like, I think it's cool always when we come to TSRS or whatever, but whenever we go there, it's kind of a Texas-based crowd, you know, and I love my Texas people, but I think seeing guys like Todd Barron, Phil Pignantero from Florida and probably North Carolina as well with that Mach 1 team based out of Trackhouse Motorplex, and a couple of other drivers like we heard from Gavin McCune earlier this morning, and the Borches. We were messing up that name all day yesterday. I think it's Borche or Borche. I'm not mistaken. I think it was Borche. And talking to them yesterday, you know, we were walking down I was actually walking into the hotel with our with one of our camera guys, Luis Diaz, and we walk in there and we see all these guys, and I see our KC stream up on the hotel TV, and I'm like, what's going on here? And I'm like, hey guys, like, you guys racing this weekend? And I wasn't familiar, and they were from California, and I, you know, talking to them, got the opportunity to talk to Gavin this morning, so it was always a pleasure to kind of talk to those guys and hear their story, hear where they're from. And I think that's the coolest part about this event. You know, you have a lot of people who have been coming back to this event, and we want the resurgence of the event to kind of happen, you know, make this what it was back in the day, and, you know, get the numbers back up there to the 200s, 300s, or whatever it may be. So always a pleasure nonetheless to be here, and I think that's the coolest part for me, right? Seeing people from all over the U.S. come out here and want to race at the IKF Grand Nationals.
Yeah, all over the U.S. I mean, not new names, but new names for me, for sure.
Yeah.
I've had to learn a lot of new names, especially Borche this weekend.
Yeah.
So thankfully we figured that out. So, yeah, hopefully today's a little bit better on my end, identifying drivers and whatnot. Yeah.
Look, all these drivers always keep us on our toes, and, you know, they never let us get comfortable at all. You know, we can be so familiar with all the national series and all the national guys, and they're superstars to their own right. But all these guys are also superstars as well. So we keep us on our toes and make us kind of give shout outs to other guys who come out here and race with us. So it's always a pleasure. But checker flag is out this time for your 2:06 Masters, and it's been a great morning warm-up sessions, and hope you guys have enjoyed, I guess, our morning warm-up show so far with Riley coming into the booth, a couple of drivers, and Rocco Ruzic. After this quick commercial break, we'll be right back with more warm-up action and more drivers coming up here to the booth. You're watching Kart Chasers live coverage of the IKF Grand Nationals.
If you want beautiful, solid wood, made in America dining room furniture, come out and see the new selection of beautiful dining room tables, chairs at Gallery Furniture, and best of all, buy this beautiful, oh so comfortable, made in America dining room furniture, tables, chairs, servers. Gallery Furniture delivers free to your area home in 3 or 4 hours tonight. Make family members on your beautiful new dining room table and chairs. Buy it today. New arrivals, Gallery Furniture delivers free in 3 or 4 hours to your home today.
Welcome to Rimrock Raceway, the premier karting facility and motorsport-themed venue in West Texas. While you're at the track, be sure to stop into Victory Lane and enjoy our full-service bar and event center. We have live music and entertainment weekly, along with Texas's fastest go-karts available to the public. Located on West Highway 80 in Odessa, get your adrenaline pumping at Rimrock Raceway and live life full throttle.
Well, welcome back to the IKF Grand Nationals warm-up show with myself, Caleb Vieska, and Rocco Ruzic here alongside me in the booth for this year's 2024 IKF Grand Nationals. We heard already from a couple of drivers. We heard from Gavin McKeon, who's out here lapping around on the KA100 Junior class. We heard from David Ibarra as well. Christopher Wakefield, one driver that we haven't talked to, and Tyrone Kemper Jr. as well, was kind of keeping Ibarra on his toes. Tyler Roberts has been super quick all weekend long here, and a couple of other drivers kind of been struggling. Luke Cruz had a lot of pace yesterday, and just found himself in a couple of incidents that kind of put him on the back foot going into today's main event. But Rocco, it's been a good day of racing and a good weekend of racing for these KA juniors. Have kept it clean, and it's kind of been a 2 to 3 car breakaway in this field. Christopher Wakefield looking to get in there as well, and he looks pretty promising in this warm-up session so far.
Yeah, these gaps are off of position or lap time right now?
This is indeed lap time, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll double check as well with that. And I believe they should be over lap time. And I'll wait for my kind of race here to update here a little bit. And it's actually not updating. So we'll wait for it. But yeah, nonetheless, I mean, a lot of these drivers have kind of shown their speed already. And so I do have I guess lap time's up right now, and it is by position, Rocco. So good catch there. Luke Cruz, the driver for the TB Kart South team, currently the quickest driver on the racetrack, a 105.4546 for the TB kart here, and that's a pretty good, promising kind of start to the day. And we did get some rain overnight. A lot of wind kind of came up and blew a lot of dust onto the racetrack last night. With it was very dark skies and kind of scared us after seeing that Twisters movie earlier this year with starring Glenn Powell and whatnot. So scared about some tornadoes coming through. Because we are close to, I guess, Tornado Alley, but that's just me kind of being a baby about it. But anyways, that came through last night, and being a close to green racetrack this morning has kind of provided some other drivers to get up there and get up there in the field. Easton Cox, the driver in the 815, currently quickest at the moment, a 106.114. So a lot of pace there for Easton Cox, and getting a little argy-bargy there. So all these drivers kind of getting working their way through there, Rocco.
Yeah, I wonder if a few of these drivers from yesterday are just didn't want to show their full hand until Sunday. I know this is just the warm-up, so lap times may not mean too much until we get racing. I mean, of course, this is just the warm-up. It doesn't mean anything, truthfully, but I mean,
hey, it means something.
It's getting in the groove, man. That's all it is.
Exactly. So I think that's exactly what warm-up means, getting in the groove, kind of making sure your kart has no gremlins here this morning. And for also a driver who, if you didn't have a lot of pace yesterday and you show a lot of pace, more pace than probably the drivers up at the front, like the drivers here on our screen, Christopher Wakefield and David Ibarra and probably Tyrone Kemper Jr. and Roberts. If you have more speed than those guys, you're like, all right, I think I got what it takes to kind of get up there and fight with these guys, and I can take the fight up to that. So it could also be a confidence booster, and I think warm-up's always good for that, but also to kind of try out whatever last little bit, whatever last little leap of faith that you need to take. This is the time to do it. This is the last thing you need to try, and if you were happy with what you had yesterday, you go back to the setup you had yesterday. If you like what you tried this morning in warm-up, you got a long race coming at you today. 15 minutes plus 2 laps. It's a lot, and you really need to be comfortable with whatever setup you got, under your hands and in your seats. So for Cadence Presley, a very good showing, and that's exactly what Cadence Presley really needs here this morning, a 106.018 for the MPG Academy driver. And when we talk about confidence, when we talk about, not having the best of days yesterday, that's exactly what Presley needs when you see all these guys kind of fighting it out for track position. So Cadence Presley, quickest driver in this morning warm-up session as the checker flag comes out, this time by.
And as you say that, Davis Henry goes quickest with a 105.7, about 0.3 quicker than the second fastest lap, which is quite incredible. We saw these drivers on screen in that fight for the win yesterday, and maybe with what we see on this time sheet, we'll see a way bigger group.
Yeah, and exactly. So, we have the likes of Davis Henry putting in really good lap times so far this morning. Luke Cruz back up to P5. Wakefield as well in 6th. Easton Cox was up there. So everybody kind of in between 2 tenths. David Ibarra down to 9th, and he's kind of been battling it out this entire session. So it could be anybody's game, and either you found something overnight and you're confident with what you got going into this main event later on today, then it'll be a good showing for you nonetheless. So some of these drivers kind of feeling good with whatever package they have at the moment, and going to feel quite confident going into the main events later on today when they try and race their way to the history books, I should really say, and win a Duffy. A couple already have the Screaming Eagle and both trophies that are super cool to their own right. But issues early on for the 850 at the start of this session. London Skidmore, unfortunately, and that driver having issues here, not able to get going. But here's some 206 engines fired, and yes, indeed, that's our 206 cadet class getting set to come out here in a couple of moments' time. We're 206 cadets out on the racetrack now. Here's Sawyer Chambers, also known as Soy Sauce, leading us out onto the racetrack here as they work their way through. This was a very, very good race that we saw yesterday. And I mean, Rocco, we had a lot of contenders. Miles Borche was up there, and glad to kind of know that we're saying that name right. I think it's Borche or Borchi. If either of those two, I think sounds pretty much right for us.
I think I'm going to commit to Borche.
Borche, we're committed to that? All right, Borche it is. So, yeah, for what were we saying yesterday? What were we saying?
We were all
over the place,
yeah.
I think so. And funny enough that the Mr. and Mrs. Borche were actually kind of okay with it, and they thought it was funny, and they were going to let it slide. And then we kind of ran into them at the hotel, and they corrected us, but they thought it was kind of, they got a kick out of it. So as long as they're okay with it, we're okay with it, and we can get a move on here with our weekend, Rocco. But anyway, back on the on-track action, 3.5 minutes to go with this morning warm-up with your 206 cadets. So your Chambers had a good day yesterday. An incident in heat race number 1 kind of put him on the back foot going into the main event today. Tyler Morowak as well had a pretty good day, but as well just kind of needing that little bit of luck in heat race number 3 puts him on the back foot starting for the main event later on today. Drew Blem as well. He's had a lot of pace all year in his Nitro Kart machine, but just kind of needs to find that last little bit to really get up there to the likes of Tanner Barsh and a couple of others. Aston Wyatt as well, talked to him, and they think it's all motor and don't have kind of that last little bit of motor power that they need, and hopefully Aston can come up here later on today and chat with us so we can know exactly what's going on with Aston's Burrell Art AR Academy machine, Trackside Karting Services machine, on the 206 side of things. But nonetheless, a good weekend of racing so far, and this is probably, I would say, Rocco, the biggest 206 cadet class outside of Cup Karts North America that we've seen in quite some time here in the state of Texas. So this is pretty good to see a bunch of drivers come out here from all over the U.S., getting out here and dipping their toes into some 206 racing as well. Another driver who's super quick, the driver right behind this GFC, Simon Klein in the Kart Republic, has been really good all day yesterday after unfortunately not being able to make Friday qualifying due to a family emergency, and he's back here. He was back yesterday on the Saturday, and he was able to have a good day to really provide some great racing for us. And he really provided us some good passes and had to work his way through the field all day. So for young, I should say, Stormy Jack Klein has had a good day nonetheless, Rocco. A good weekend.
You were trying to come up with a nickname for him yesterday, right?
It's Stormy. We'll go Stormy.
Stormy, does it have to include an S in it, or can it be anything?
Something having to do with a storm or a tornado. His dad is a storm chaser.
I thought Dust Devil would be really cool.
Hey, Dust Devil is pretty good.
Pretty cool.
Simon Jack Klein, the Dust Devil, already going through the
that sounds good.
Inside, or we could do Dusty. Nah, Dusty sounds...
Nah, we already have a Dusty, bro.
Nah, yeah, we do. So, anyway, me and Rocco are just up here yapping and having a good time in this morning warm-up session before we actually get to do some real work later on today and announce some good racing action. But you heard it there, and we're still kind of we'll take submissions as well around the paddock for a nickname for young Simon Jack Klein.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know
what Devil. Let us know down in the live chat what you'd like to hear from us and what you'd like to what you'd like us to Well, any nicknames, I guess you should say. But, again, our Alpha Live ticker also doing a good job here this weekend. And a shout-out to our friends over at Alpha Live that have their British Kart Masters going on this weekend. And I should say our very own Henry Beaudet out there and having a good time. So shout-out to Henry, and I'm sure he'll be watching some of the IKF Grand Nationals later on today if he's still awake to see some good some good racing action for us over here in the States. And in other news, in karting, Joe Turney, European champion, FIA European champion this morning in FIA karting. So congratulations to Joe Turney, who we hope we'll see him back anytime soon. Maybe for the Miami Grand Nationals. A lot of money up for that one later on this year. But I think Vegas is when we should see Joe Turney back next. But big congratulations to Joe Turney nonetheless, and to Henry Beaudet out there doing British Kart Masters this weekend. But that'll be it for our morning warm-up sessions in 206 Cadets. Tanner Barsh, as expected, quickest here this morning, a 114.684. Miles Borche, a 114.684 as well. Miles Borche, a 114.818. He's currently third, and Caden Williams up to the top of the timing screens, a 114.601. Aston Wyatt, sixth here. The driver on your screen we haven't heard from him yet. We hope we can. He's struggled with motor so far this weekend, but still sixth is good enough for him, and they were trying to kind of play it out perfectly to to put themselves on that inside yesterday. Just couldn't get it done, but here you have it. Aston Wyatt should start second and on the outside, and obviously we've seen it's been kind of not the best starting spot, I should say, Rocco, to kind of start on that outside. It's been quite difficult for some drivers to kind of get it done from out there. So we'll see what it looks like for Aston Wyatt. He actually just finished 4th in this morning session, and we'll wait for a couple of other drivers to go around because Tanner Barsh back up to the top. 114.185. Miles Borche to 2nd. Williams to 3rd. Wyatt up to 4th. Chambers, the driver that was there on your screen, was in 5th. But Caden Williams has been super quick all morning long, and he is up there coming into the pits now. Going to get one more lap, actually, I should say. And we'll see what it looks like for these drivers. And there you have it. Sawyer Chambers, checkered flag is out. Sawyer Chambers, quickest driver of the morning, 114.178. And I feel like I'm going to say this, and then Tanner Barsh and Aston Wyatt are going to come by and kind of improve on their lap time again. So I'll let it kind of take a pause. But with that being said, we'll take advantage to kind of send it into a quick commercial break. When we come back, more warm-up sessions here at the 2024 IKF Grand Nationals. Myself and Rocco Ruzic. It's a pleasure being here with you guys. And again, before we send it off, actually, Aston Wyatt just went quickest. So Aston, a lot of pace in that Brell Art machine here this morning, and whatever gremlins they had yesterday, seems like they've been figured out. A 113.768 for Aston Wyatt. So pretty good day. Nonetheless, pretty good start to the day, and that's exactly what you need when we talk about confidence. But again, if you want to watch the racing action later on today, and if you want to watch the main events for $9.99 a month, become a KC Premium member starting at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll be live for KC Premium members only. So $9.99 a month. Become a KC Premium member. Rocco, do you have any idea how much Netflix costs a month?
I think it costs more than that.
It costs $15. Do you know how much cable TV costs a month?
Definitely more than $10 a month.
About $40 to $120 a month. You know how much Kart Chaser costs a month?
$10.99.
$9.99 a month. So even cheaper than what you thought. So $9.99 a month for the KC Premium member.
It's more with Apple, though.
That is correct. So make sure you, become a KC Premium member on your, anything but Android, an iOS device, Android or computer or desktop, whatever, and you'll get the $9.99 a month. Apple adds on an extra $2.99. We don't see any of it. That goes straight to Apple because they like charging extra. So anyways, become a KC Premium member and don't miss any of the racing action live later on today at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 9:30 a.m. local time and Central Standard Time. So from us here, we go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, more warm-up action coming your way.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
I need a new 219 chain. I need a 77 tooth roof sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? We need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the car on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
I'm David Serra, 18-time Australian karting champion, and we're launching Kart Class. Kart Class is an advanced digital training program that helps a driver who's just starting out in the sport all the way to the driver looking to win a national championship. In this program, you're going to be learning about how to find the ideal racing line and what an apex is, braking and throttle markers, wet weather racing lines, and how to overtake other competitors. We target how to brake in the wet weather, and we look on the mental side of kart racing as well with our mental skills coach. At the completion of this program, you'll be lighting up purple sectors in qualifying, know when to defend on the opening laps, and how to pressure your opposition into mistakes. We teach you the tools to be resilient and how to get in the right frame of mind before a race. we look to complete the whole package by getting a strong mindset, a driving style to suit all conditions, strategizing your race, and getting the last 1% from your team. We'll teach you how to win the final lap of a race, driving the wet like Max Verstappen, and creating the perfect bubble for yourself to mentally be in the zone. To find out more, click the link below.
Well, welcome back to the 2024 IKF Grand Nationals. Your KA100 Seniors out on the racetrack now, and as some of you guys may have noticed, as Marian Kremers was actually kind of questioning yesterday on Instagram and over social media, Aiden Rudolph not on the racetrack at the moment with the KA Seniors, but he is up here up in the booth with me and has had a good day so far. Not good day because it's Sunday. You probably haven't done anything besides wake up and brush your teeth and maybe take a shower this morning, but you've had a good weekend so far in 206 Senior, kind of sweeping the class so far, and kind of walk me through what kind of came through for you in the IKF Grand Nationals and why you're not doing double duty here this weekend.
Yeah, honestly, it just came down to the decision of myself. You know, I'm working on my own go-kart tuning and you know, be my own mechanic this weekend. And, you know, it's a personal decision for myself to not put myself in the situation to work on 2 go-karts this whole weekend in the smoldering heat that we have here in Amarillo. So, you know, I wanted to, you know, take this weekend with a different approach and, you know, fully focus on 206 and, you know, try to get better racecraft in 206 especially. You know, I think I've struggled this year at TSRS, you know, with the different kind of racing strategy that you have to have in 206 Senior compared to KA. So it's different, and, you know, every session I get better and better in 206 just to, you know, learn the different racecraft and learn the drivers a little bit. So yeah, yesterday was amazing. Kind of, you know, I was definitely the fastest one out there, and looking forward to do the same thing today.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about yesterday, right? Because you, like I said earlier, I mean, you swept. You got the Screaming Eagle, which you didn't get last year. Austin Garrison, unfortunately, beat you to it. And did you get the Screaming Eagle? Kelvin Zing beat you to it as well. So you kind of missed the opportunity on 2 Screaming Eagles last year, but you were able to get the Duffy in KA Senior last year. So you already have 1 to your name, and you already added yourself into the history books last year. But this year is a little different. You know, you have 30 drivers that are kind of competing with you to kind of get it. So what would that mean to kind of go back-to-back and with, I guess, 2 back-to-back Duffy trophies for you?
No, it would mean a lot, especially, you know, the 206 Senior field is so deep this weekend, and, you know, there's more KA drivers, you know, more talent this weekend than there usually is in the TSRS field, you know, especially Alex Stanfield and Landon Skinner joining us this weekend. So, you know, it's fun, you know, racing the guys I usually race with in the faster category, you know, trying to figure out you know, they're also trying to figure out the different driving style there is in 206 along with me. So it's fun to race against them. And yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought too much about, you know, the trophy this weekend. I'm trying to focus 1 session at a time and, you know, try to get max performance out of everything.
Yeah, and I know you and your dad kind of like competing about, you know, who has what trophies and what he has. I know he's a legend in his own right to the Rock Island Grand Prix, a very historic race as well in U.S. American karting. And I don't think he has a Duffy, correct me if I'm wrong, so he doesn't have a Duffy. And after you won it last year, kind of, I know he went on social media and posted about it. I was like, yeah, you know, Aiden did what I could never do is win a Duffy. And you know, what is that, like, what kind of bragging rights, I guess, do you have against your dad that you're kind of saying, like, hey, man, I had the opportunity to get 2 Duffys here this weekend, and you don't even have 1.
No, I don't think there's very many bragging rights. You know, we'll give each other some crap about it, but you know, I know he was a great driver in his day. That sounds bad, but you know, back in his day, he's not the youngest fella these days. But you know, he has some good respect for me, and he's excited to see how well I'm doing, and you know, we'll hop in a go-kart. You know, shifter kart, and I'll be faster than him these days. So, so, you know, there's no love lost there. It's you know, he's proud of where I've grown to be, and you know, he's excited to see me explore more trophies this weekend.
Yeah. So, Aiden, I'll leave you kind of with this as this KA Senior kind of session comes to a close. Landon Skinner just went quickest. Alex Stanfield second, and Peyton Phillips third. Those drivers have kind of been up there all weekend long, and kind of, I guess I'll give you, since you're not racing here this weekend, but out of these 3 drivers, I mean, I know you've raced against a lot of them. A lot of those guys have, you know, I don't want to say it, but a lot of them have beat, especially those 3, they beat you before.
Yep.
So, who do you got kind of going into later on today?
Man, Alex Stanfield has been on fire this weekend. But I've raced against Peyton Phillips a lot, and I know that he always saves a little bit more extra for Sunday. Skinner's also been super fast this weekend, so it'll be fun for me to watch. It is kind of strange for me to watch the KA Senior class and me not be out there. I kind of wish I was. But it's fun to watch the guys I usually race against go at it, and I have my bets on Alex Stanfield.
All right, well, there you guys have it. Official here for 8 off. But lastly, I know it's not a solo operation you got going on. So who would you like to thank, I guess, for making this possible for you coming out here to the IKF Grand Nationals and put yourself within a shot to win 2 back-to-back?
Yeah, absolutely. You and Jeffrey has put this whole program together for me, and gave me the opportunity to race 206 Senior this year, and he's made my go-kart extremely fast, and I'm comfortable with the material, and the environment is so great in the team, and all the other mechanics and helpers, Omar Tofty, Ignacio, and then Stewart Motors this weekend has been on fire, so those guys have gave me a package to sweep yesterday, and hopefully do the same today.
So there you guys have it. Aiden Rudolph getting set to go green later on today to try and go back-to-back and I guess Duffy victories, I should say. But Aiden, thank you very much for joining us up here, and probably be hearing from you later on today. So best of luck later on today. I know you got warm-up session coming up here shortly, so we'll let you get back to that. Thank you very much, Aiden.
Thank you, Kart Chaser.
Well, Chris Tracy finding himself off the racetrack here early on in this 206 Junior morning warm-up session here with just over a minute left, I should say. So we heard there from a couple of drivers already, and we hope to get a couple of more coming up here later on today. But there you guys have it. Christopher Wakefield out on the racetrack now, and you see them kind of jockeying for position here, and we'll look at the lap times. So again, the left-hand side of your screen, that's by position, which is obviously what the races will go by every time they cross the line, but it's kind of still relevant here, as Christopher Wakefield is the quickest driver. He's at the top of your of our timing chart here on the left. Davis Henry's second. Ava Blem is third, so flip-flop Cooper Perez and Ava Blem. Perez is fourth in the Invader machine. John Palmo Curry fifth. Landon Warren sixth. Chris Tracy seventh. Steven Searock is currently eighth. As well from California, Gavin McCune, who we heard from earlier, is ninth at the moment. Shelby Ramirez in 10th. Wade Borche in 11th. Maui Angel in 12th. Lucas Fink in 13th. And Mia Johnson not here this morning, I don't think, unless her CRG machine is the one in the grass, and it is there, unfortunately. So Mia Johnson is here, so she's currently 14th on the field there. Unfortunately there for her CRG machine, but time is up here in this morning warm-up session for 206 Junior, and they all make their way around. There's Gavin McCune in the National Motorsports OTK. We heard from him earlier on today, and the kid from NorCal would like to get his first Duffy and write his name into the history books here today, and he has a great starting spot to get it done here later on, starting from the pole, and it hasn't been easy for him. Christopher Wakefield's kept him on his toes, as well as Wade Borche and a couple of other drivers, so it's going to be tough there for Gavin McCune, but he's confident he can get it done, confident with the package, and you saw him give a shout out to his uncle and his entire family here supporting him here this weekend. So best of luck there to Gavin McCune and the rest of the drivers here in the 206 Junior class. So we'll see what it looks like for all these drivers. And there's Wade Borche. I think Steven Searock, actually the driver right ahead of him. So an all Cali lineup here on our screens. 322, yeah. So he said they like to shake and bake, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So a good job for them nonetheless. So they're out there and lapping around here, but a couple of more drivers getting set to come up here with us as this 206 Junior class wraps up. Peyton Phillips joining me up here in the booth. And Peyton, I guess just KA Senior for you here this weekend, and I know you've had a lot of pace, and you and Alex have gone at it all weekend long with Landon as well. So talk to me how your weekend's been to this point.
Nah, we showed up Thursday straight off the truck. We've been here how many times now? We know the setup. We know it's going to be fast. Yeah, I've been doing most of our practices alone. Pace has been good. I know yesterday didn't ever really get a chance to properly show what we had, but I think for the final, we know what we need. We know what we're going to do. We know how it's going to work. It should be quite enjoyable on our side. I don't know if they're going to like it, but it will be fun. Yeah, and I know it's not hard to I know it's hard, I should say, to kind of get away here. It's not easy, and I don't think it's kind of ever been done before, right? It's always kind of been a drag race to the line, and because of the draft, how significant that is here this weekend, and that's kind of what's kept all of you guys right there with Landon and Alex. So just kind of walk me through that. What's the strategy kind of going into the final lap later on today in the main event? Well, I've pulled away here before, so I know we can do it. And I know the past 2 years we probably have had the fastest cart. Just mistakes on my end or setup changes I've also made haven't played out. But I know it's going to be a fight. I know they're going to race me hard. They have been the whole entire weekend. But it's racing. I like it hard. And this final honestly might be very fun to watch for everyone. Well, Peyton, I'll take you up on that, and hopefully you guys provide us with some great clean racing later on today. And I know you have a whole operation that kind of puts this on for you and helps you get out here on the racetrack. I know your mom's supporting you as well from home. So who would you like to thank, I guess, for making this possible for you this weekend? Well, first of all, Mom, if you're watching, I hope you're doing good. I know you just got out of surgery Monday. No, Thursday. I'm sorry. Terrible with dates still. But thanks to High Five Performance, Tipton, Drew for being my mechanic. He's getting a bit old, so I have to help him a lot. But, A to Z Racing, Mark, if you're watching, thank you. We'll try our best in the final. For TSRS, for helping IKF put this out here, and the Kyle. I love this track. I love coming here. I wish more events would be here. You wouldn't think it would be that much fun just looking at it because it's flat, but it races so fun. Yeah. But Yeah.
So I know you're excited about getting going here later on today. So we thank you very much for coming up here and joining us. I know you got a main event to worry about now, and hopefully becoming a first-time Duffy winner. And lastly, I guess I will ask you this. What would that mean? And I know you probably don't want to think about it, and I don't want to kind of jinx you in any sort of way. But what would that kind of mean to you to kind of get that Duffy because of how much it means to the entire karting community? And Xander called it yesterday almost a karting Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's like it was the Supernats before Supernats. Let's be real. Everyone wants one. It's not, unfortunately, because of all the other events, it gets overshadowed, but it still means a lot. You're still racing the best at the end of the day, especially like in Turo 6. KA, there's 3 of us, but we're all really good. But in Turo 6, it's stacked. Like you watch the race, it's like, whoa, anyone could win it. But I would love to, especially here, because I know in the 2020, I went to California, did IKF, got second. So I've been close before, but I would love to win one here today.
Well, there you guys have it. Peyton Phillips, eager to win his first Duffy. Thank you very much, Peyton.
Thank you.
Parallel USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parallel Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParalleLUSA.com.
So you finally want to get behind the wheel, huh?
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you're going to need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes?
Yep.
Gloves?
Yep.
Rip protectors?
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next? Well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Car Class has done the hard work for you. We've travelled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Car Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit carclass.com to get your track information.
Well, with all that being said, welcome to, I guess, our last little bit of the KC Morning Warm-Up Show with myself, Caleb Vieska, and Rocco Ruzic, as our 206 seniors get set to go out onto the racetrack. Our KA Masters wrap up. Issues were Slade Miller, unfortunately, early in this one, finding himself in the grass, and everybody else kind of lapping around here. But, Rocco, it's been quite a weekend here in 206 Senior, a stacked class, and I think you heard it from Peyton Phillips. It's been a good one to watch, you know, and Peyton said that there's really three of them that can win it in that race there in KA, and in 206 it seems like anybody inside of the top 15 is really within a good shot to kind of be there and within pace to kind of get it done. So what are some of the things that have kind of stood out to you so far this weekend, and some of the drivers that you're kind of keeping an eye on as we get to the main event later on today?
Well, in this 206 class, a lot of drivers have these races have been a little bit more short in the heat, so I think with a 15-minute main events, you'll see a lot of these drivers try to work together. I think we had a little wave there from Alex. I don't know if he was waving at us or somebody else, but yeah, they're right behind him. That's Jerry Fandry wearing that's Xander Clements' helmet, actually. Yeah, so it's a little. I remember when I was on camera yesterday, it was a little hard to spot him. I was like, why is Xander in a 206? But yeah, that is definitely Jerry Fandry right there. But as I was saying, a longer race, you'll definitely see drivers sort out their differences and work up to the front a little bit more. You may see a huge battle for that win later today.
And as well, for those of you people from Nevada watching on, there's Cole Nelson, leader of Cole Nelson Racing, and Invader, 12-time Duffy winner. So you guys heard it there. Added another Duffy to his name last year at Speed Sports Racing Park at the 2023 edition of the IKF Grand Nationals. And this year kind of stepped back and let his drivers kind of take the reins. And Matthew Winfrey, the driver who he has kind of fighting up there for some hardware. And Winfrey has been quick all day long, so he could be one of the drivers to look out for here today. But, I mean, a lot of hungry Texans here who have a lot of laps around this place and kind of have the upper hand on Winfrey to that respect. But, I mean, the guy kind of coaching Matthew Winfrey is probably, I think, one of the drivers with the most Duffies in the history in karting. So big respect there to Cole Nelson. And as well, further back, you see some of the MSO driver, one of the MSO drivers in Joey Friend back there, not racing this weekend, unfortunately, just doing some coaching for MSL. And Reagan Seville, the rookie who has been kind of taking this class by storm all year long, and teammate right behind him, and Jacob Oliver. These two drivers have been some of the quickest all year long. And when you talk about Reagan Seville being one of the younger drivers in this class, it definitely hasn't seemed that way. You said it yesterday. Been a veteran in the 206 category for many, many years. A lot of wins to his name, and this kid has done a great job nonetheless all year long. Started us off well, taking a win at NOLA Motorsports Park, took a win at Crescent all the way to the line, fighting with Truly Adams, the youngest driver in the field at only 13 years old here this weekend. Second youngest, there you have, that's actually not Josie Chambers. That's Ethan Gonzalez back there with team owner Stuart Robinson Racing, there for the Intrepid machine. And that Intrepid's been quick all weekend long with Josie Chambers. So they're also one of the drivers to look out for here and one of the teams to look out for. But a very stacked class, and this is going to be a good one to watch, Rocco. It's definitely kept us on our toes. And if you were to ask me today who has a chance of winning this race, I'd have no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you either. Reagan Seville, he was doing good yesterday, but I spoke to him after the race, and he wasn't too satisfied with his pace. So hopefully in this warm-up, we'll see him. We'll see what he can do if he made any changes. I mean, we'll see by the end of this warm-up session, Caleb.
Yeah, and I think Reagan said it himself across social media yesterday that they're just still trying to figure out that GFC machine here at Amarillo. It's from the looks of it, a lot of drivers have kind of been way too bound up with the track and the temperatures getting so hot with the newer compound as well. So it's kind of been a struggle point there for Reagan Seville. Afton Willander, another driver who's kind of had an up and down day, kind of getting into trouble, unfortunately, at the start of the races, and he just hasn't been able to keep his way out of it. Another driver who had issues yesterday at the start of heat race number 3, Alex Stanfield, one of the contenders here, started on the front row. Just couldn't get any starts starting from the outside. And unfortunately, it just came to kind of bite him back at the start of heat race number 3. And starting on the back foot here today with a lot of work to do to kind of get a good result here today and potentially try and get something done if he wants to win a Duffy. But yellow flags are out here in the first, I guess, the second sector of the racetrack as they head into the third sector. So they're still kind of lapping around. But I mean, it's been an interesting day. A lot of drivers have definitely had pace, but I think one of the drivers with the most pace has for sure been Aiden Rudolph, and kind of showed his pace all day yesterday. You heard from him today. He's been happy with the pace that he's had. He's been, very confident in that CRG machine, and it's definitely showing out there on the racetrack. Has definitely made friends with Josie Chambers, who was happy to push him along throughout the day yesterday. So they're doing a good job, and he has a lot of pace, Rocco.
Yeah, he got away. I think he has the pole for today. I'm pretty confident about that. Him and Chambers worked very well yesterday, as you said. So we may see the same thing today, as well as a lot of other drivers. I mean, they'll be picking their drivers, their homies, as I say, and we'll see what happens later on in this main event.
Yeah, and Rocco, we usually ask you this before TSRS races, but your keys to victory here today, what do you think they are?
Just picking the right times in 206. You have to really just have the right timing. We've always called this kind of a chess match. Make the right passes at the right times. Don't slow each other down, and work your way towards the front until the last 2 laps.
Yeah, and for those of you guys who may not know, Rocco's actually led laps in a 206 event at a field of this size.
Sadly, only led laps. Yeah.
So this guy definitely knows what he's talking about, and I vouch for him. So he probably knows more of how to lead a race with a lot of fast and hungry drivers than I do. Rocco's keys to victory there, picking your points, knowing when to make moves, and finding some buddies to push with, and then settling out your differences here early. So very well said here from Rocco. My keys to victory: keep it on the track, go fast.
Yeah.
I think that's all you need.
Very important.
And pick your points. So I guess that's also our keys to victory here for myself, Caleb Vieska, and Rocco Ruzic, SCCA official licensed driver.
Yeah, you keep calling. I keep
Rookie
hearing
of the
SCCA
year
official, and I'm like, I don't flag for people.
Rookie of the year, Rocco Ruzic there. But Jerry Fangio already making some moves here early on with one of the invaders as well, Reagan Seville there. So let's take a look at the lap times here this morning and see what they look like. A lot of these drivers actually are kind of stuck in a couple of swarms here early on. So we'll look at what they kind of are here. 114.889 here this morning for Landon Skinner, quickest driver on the racetrack on lap number 2. Seville currently second. Matthew Winfrey in the Invader currently third. Jacob Oliver fourth, and Alex Stanfield rounds up your top 5 early on in this morning warm-up session. Again, on the left-hand side of your screen, that's where the drivers are based on track position. So that's not obviously relevant to their lap times. Landon Skinner is up there, and as I say that, Aiden Rudolph, quickest driver on the racetrack now, 114.413 for Rudolph here this morning. So that's pretty much what it looks like for Aiden Rudolph so far. Jacob Oliver in his second year here in the senior category, second. And it's all changed around here, all kind of put on his head. Kelvin Zing to the top here, 114.283.
Yes, good lap from Kelvin. I mean, he was always right on the cusp of that lead pack yesterday, and they got caught in some sort of kerfuffle or whatnot. So hopefully today, with this kind of pace, he can bring it up to the front and keep it there. I mean, he's a kind of driver who you don't really ever see him in the front, even on days like that, until the last few laps of the main event. He's a driver who likes to do sneak attacks.
Yeah, and interesting thing about Kelvin Zing, I think Caleb Smock said it best at the start of this year, that Kelvin Zing, he could start off the weekend on the back foot, and he could start off with no pace at all, but at the end of the weekend, there's you see Jay Weaver and Garrett Weaver, the brothers, unfortunately, off the racetrack here early, but Kelvin Zing is always going to find his way to the top. The 666 is always going to be there at some point. at the end of that main event, and I think Caleb Smock at the start of the year alluded to that, and I think that was a really good point by him, because it's definitely been that way. The race wins that Kelvin Zing has had, he's had to work his way through the field, and whenever he gets there in the end, he definitely makes it count, you know. So he'll be a driver to look out for. Another driver that we haven't really talked about too much in this 206 senior class that we did talk about in KA, Truly Adams. Truly Adams had a lot of pace, but he's had to work his way through the field all weekend long, starting from the tail end all weekend. So for Truly Adams, he's you know, going to have really good pace and starting further up the field. So if he can get up there, he can definitely be within a shot to get it done, as we have some side-by-side action. Tyler Stevens off the racetrack there, unfortunately, and they continue to lap around. So that's going to be it for your 206 seniors. And as it stands, Truly Adams, fastest driver on the racetrack, a 113.731 this morning. So there's Truly Adams, Bryce Frank, Christopher White, and Kelvin Zing, the drivers that are kind of populating towards the top here at the moment. And Truly Adams, the youngest driver in this field here, is set, if I'm not mistaken, set to make a return to Spain later on this year to race for the Tillotson T4 World Nations Cup, I should say. So there you have it. Checkered flag out this time by Matthew Winfrey to the top in the Invader. And it continues to change. Truly Adams back to the top. So the youngest driver in this field already with one win to his name on the year. Couple of rookies, and all rookie kind of a dominated year so far here in Texas. Truly Adams took the second round, and Reagan Seville took round number 1 and round number 3, and Adams was there right there and almost had the win in round number 3 at Kart Moto in Crescent. So yeah, that 13-year-old definitely has a lot of pace in his VLR machine, so going to be one of the ones to watch here this weekend. Rocco starting further up.
Definitely.
So we'll see what it looks like, but for all of us here at Kart Chaser, we thank you for joining us here on the Sunday morning warm-up show. For myself, Caleb Vieska, and Rocco Ruzic. Again, this is the end of our free coverage at the 2024 edition of the IKF Grand Nationals. If you want to watch all the main events live, if you want to watch all the racing action, you want to watch some Duffys given away here in Amarillo Kart Complex, make sure to become a KC Premium member for $9.99 a month. This has been Kart Chaser's live coverage of the IKF Grand Nationals. We'll see you on the other side.